Touring car action comes here at Valencia as part of the FIA Motorsport Games for 2024. The grid is formed for the qualifying race. It is a 25-minute race that we have in prospect, and the drivers then, after the qualifying session earlier on in the day, good to go racing. Touring cars are always spectacular, always dramatic, and running to the TCR international rule set, this qualifying race for the FIA Motorsport Games touring car category is going to be no exception. Joe Osborne and David Addison are trackside. Argentina is on pole position. The sun is shining. What could be better for a Saturday afternoon than an elbows out 25-minute touring car bash?
Yeah, exactly. It's all South America front row with Brazil alongside Argentina. There's a few to look out for. One of them definitely as well. Italy down on the fifth row, lost a lot of laps to track limits as we look at Montenegro and the Argentina car there. Really good job in qualifying, but it was tight, wasn't it, all the way down the field. So I am very much looking forward to the close racing that you have promised, and I think will be delivered from all of these drivers out there.
Many of the drivers on this grid are touring car regulars, and so they know the feel of the car, even if they aren't regulars at the Valencia circuit. There is TCR Spain, although numbers in that championship aren't huge, but TCR is still very successful around Europe, in Asia, in Australia. Perhaps numerically it's had a bit of a dip recently, but there are still plenty of cars around to deliver good competitive championships around the globe. And at the top of the tree is the FIA TCR World Tour that's raced in China and heads next to Macau. So there are plenty of drivers, cars, teams all involved in TCR. And some of the older cars sold on go and find homes in different club racing championships or endurance championships. So there's certainly a long shelf life for the cars. And you look there at one of the Cupras that he's going to line up for French driver Aurélien Comte, fourth on the grid. Aurélien Comte, who was the Peugeot RCZ champion back in 2014, but he is currently second in TCR Europe, a race winner within that championship, and he was impressive in the qualifying session this morning, so Comte could be one to watch.
Yeah, and obviously the track fully dry as well now. We had some interesting conditions this morning. Valencia overnight storm took a long time to dry, and we saw the touring cars take a little while to get some heat in those tyres, especially the rears. Obviously, remember, these are all front-wheel drive cars, so not much energy goes through that rear axle, and that means the rear tyres don't heat up quite as quick as the front. So expect some nice big drifts from these cars on the first few laps as they generate that tyre temp across the rear tyres. You'll see a lot of cars as well vying for position, able to lean on each other, not too much of the lap time generated from downforce, so they're very good at following bumper to bumper and sometimes bumper inside other bumper.
Well, the grid is, as we've been saying, headed by Argentina. It's a one-by-one staggered grid to make sure that there's no huge drama away from the line. They'll get a final formation lap to put some warmth into the Pirelli tyres. We're into the last minute of the countdown, which is why the grid is being cleared of officials, of camera crews, of engineers, and the final few people on there are going to be making sure that engines are fired up. But at the front, there will be a board that in a few moments, we'll say 15 seconds, by which stage the grid has to be clear, and then the cars are set to be released. There's a good mix of cars within the grid. You've got Cupras, you've got Hondas, two types of Honda Civic, also Audi and Hyundai represented. Sadly, Belgium had to withdraw due to a family emergency for Giovanni Scanardi, and also Sweden had to withdraw. But we've still got a good global representation, and could Argentina scoop the medals? Well, we'll see, because it's Argentina and Brazil at the front, from Spain and France, and then Germany and United Kingdom.
Yeah, we've got a couple of countries as well that we've not seen in some of the other disciplines, Bangladesh and Indonesia as well. Indonesia actually didn't set a lap time in those tricky conditions, lost control of the car, didn't they? Through turn number 9, got stuck in the gravel and weren't able to rejoin for the remainder of the qualifying session. Green flag, and the cars are on their way.
Yes, and then just to compound the woes for Indonesia, the car was worked on, having been hoiked out of the gravel, and it shouldn't. because it was therefore in breach of Part Fermé regulation, so €300 fine went the way of the team as well. So a bit of frustration all round. However, that was on a damp circuit that the spin happened. It's now bone dry, as you can see, although a bit of a twitch from the French Cupra there of Aurélien Comte going down towards turn 1. There are 1 or 2 drivers you could argue out of position on this grid, and let's have a look at how they line up then. Argentina and Brazil share the front row. Ignacio Montenegro, who races in Spain, on pole, and Brazilian Rafael Reis alongside him. Spaniard Eric Genet for the home country, for the home team, the medal table leaders, 3rd, and for France, Aurélien Comte starts 4th. 5th is Team Germany's René Kircher, and for United Kingdom, Jensen Brickley, the former Briscoe Mini Stocks racer and double saloon car champion back in the UK. He is ahead of Czech's Adam Kaut and Denmark's René Poulsen. On the 5th row of the grid, you've got the Italian driver Marco Butti, one to watch after losing lots of laps in qualifying for track limit offences. And from Canada comes Megan Tomlinson alongside. Then is the Turkish driver Zekai Özlem, and from Bangladesh Avik Anwar, with the last driver on the grid being Umar Abdullah after his spin into the gravel in the qualifying session. He did not do a lap, so he's up against it in terms of track knowledge here, but it's going to be really intriguing up at the front. You've got to say, Ignacio Montenegro probably does start as the favourite because he looks so good in the qualifying session. This is the qualifying race, therefore there aren't any medals at stake for this. What we're doing here is deciding the grid for the longer, by 5 minutes, main race tomorrow.
Yeah, the big consideration here at play is track limits. We've seen a lot of it in all of the races so far today, and people getting 5-second penalties. So I think that could be in play here to maybe the overall result. So the drivers have to have that in the back of their mind that yes, they need to be pushing, but if you push slightly too hard and run wide 4 times, you're going to get that 5-second penalty, and that's going to really shake up the order, I think, come the end of this 25-minute race. Yeah,
true enough. So keeping out of trouble is one thing, and of course keeping a straight car is another. You do not want to give your team a whole load of work for the main race tomorrow. There's no warm-up session for any of the categories, so you go straight into the race. And the field now coming up towards the grid. They're looking at the back of the field. Team Germany, UK, Czech Republic, Denmark, and then the last few cars trickling into place. Marco Butti for Italy, experienced TCR racer. Disappointing, really, the grid position, but he kept throwing away the laps by exceeding track limits. And if he does it in the race, then it's going to be time penalty after time penalty.
Yeah, he had 3 laps that were good enough for the front row, didn't he? And all 3 of them were taken away from him. So, yeah, he's got a lot of work to do at the start of this race.
So Ignacio Montenegro then is the man on pole position. TCR South America champion, TCR Spain Winter Series champion. He's been a winner here in the past, and he's had a pole position recently, his first Valencia pole within TCR Spain recently. Well, now, another pole position. Could it be a race win? We'll find out very shortly, because the green flag is shown at the back. 5 red lights will go on, and when the lights go out, now it is blast off, and a good getaway by Montenegro from pole position. Not quite so good a start, I would say, from Brazil, and that means that Spain and France come up to have a go on the run down to the first corner. Argentina has already gapped the opposition, an absolutely demon start by Ignacio Montenegro, and so he will lead by 2, 3, 4 lengths maybe even on the run up towards turn 2. Marco Butti on the inside look for Italy with the tricolore colours, goes through. He's gaining places already. He's up behind the UK.
Yeah, Germany as well, struggling at the start. They started 5th. They've dropped all the way down behind Butti now, and Czech Republic. Dream start for Argentina. Doesn't get any better. Look at the United Kingdom all up on the curb. Brazil really on the back foot, and the back foot gets smashed by Brickley. I think that's going to be damage for both cars. That might struggle to see him finish the race. United Kingdom, a lot of bodywork damage, rubbing on the front left. How's Brazil? A lot of smoke. I think that rear right is bent in. Is there some suspension damage? It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, so proper touring car race, isn't it? Elbows out, lap 1, contact. Jensen Brickley came out of junior stock car racing and knows how to look after himself in a big fight. Well, he's lost a place and he's got damage as well. So the Team UK car is going to struggle to the end, but I think Rafael Reis is going to be in the pits by the end of the opening lap. And we understand as well that Team Turkey has pulled off at the exit of turn 1. So problems for Zekai Özlem for Turkey. Rather umbustuous first lap then, but Ignacio Montenegro leads the way. But the good starting Eric Genet, son of Jordi Genet, is in second spot and getting away from the rest of them. There is the battered Brickley for the UK. Fiesta champion prior to that, Fiesta Junior champion. Prior to that, Briscoe Mini Stocks racer. But he's been really impressive in TCR UK, and he leads the TCR Spain Championship. So he's used to driving on Spanish tracks, even if Valencia isn't one that he's raced on yet up until this weekend. He stays out, 7th on the road. He's not pitting, but no doubt that bit of contact is going to get looked at.
Yeah, he lost 2 places after the contact, and yeah, maybe a puncher, maybe they've got away with it, and more smoke coming from United Kingdom there. So both of them are definitely affected, one more than the other at the moment, but I don't think that United Kingdom car is going to finish this race with 23 minutes remaining effectively.
Well, I think the team is going to need it in for a pit stop to at least have a look at some of the damage. But Jensen Brickley there, look, bodywork missing. He's hoping, I guess, that the bodywork that's fouling the tyre just grinds away before the tyre goes bang. Meanwhile, it is Argentina from Spain, from 3rd now France, up into 4th though is Italy. So the Italian car, Marco Butti, that started 9th on the grid, has made a really good fist of the first lap.
Yeah, 5 places, obviously aided a bit with the United Kingdom and the Brazil car in shot here coming together. Sounds like they're changing that rear tyre, maybe the front 2 just checking. Maybe there's some suspension damage, a lot of bodywork as well as being damaged there. Interesting to get a replay. My initial reaction, I think the United Kingdom went to the inside too late. Brazil had closed the door fairly and the door was forcefully opened, and I think if the United Kingdom continue, then potentially a penalty heading their way. That was my initial impression. Maybe a replay will change the view on that one, but yeah, a little bit of damage, but also the pace isn't there in the United Kingdom car, dropping away now 2.5 seconds behind Germany, and they're still pulling away fast in front.
But both Brazil and the UK need to keep circulating, because if anybody else were to drop out, that gains them a place on the grid for the main race. Rafael Reis has gone down a lap, but they still want to get that car back into the race for obvious reasons. Right, let's have another look at the start. Was Montenegro creeping at the lights there?
We couldn't see the lights, but he went before everyone else.
Yeah.
And I would be surprised if everyone else was slow away. It may explain why his start was so good. I don't have anything on the timing screen yet saying they're an investigation, so they may be innocent, but yeah, definitely caught the eye, didn't it? As you see the Brazil car drop back here at the start. Remember, that started on the front row. France coming through well. Comte really aggressive up to the rear of Janae just to make sure he got his car in front of that Brazilian TCR car. There's the Italian car, and here's the contact. So watch the United Kingdom goes to the inside. The Brazil car for me is there covering itself. I don't think the Brazil car has done anything wrong, in my opinion.
I'm tempted to agree with that. Brazil's circulating again, so they've lost a lap, but if anybody else were to drop out, then a place is gained. I wouldn't mind another look at that start from Montenegro as well, just because it did look very, very good. You rightly say, nothing has come up to say that the start is under investigation. However, Montenegro was certainly well clear by turn 1, and we're on lap 3, and he's now 2 seconds clear as they come up towards turn 14. You're looking at Marco Butti there. So the Italian car behind France, and Aurélien Comte goes to the line. This, a replay of the start from on board with France. Let's have a look. Look at Montenegro to the right.
Yeah, clear jump start, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And quite a big one as well, to be fair. Everyone behind did well not to react. You see it quite often, don't you? One car jumps and everyone else goes through. But yeah, I think they've just tried to predict the start there, Montenegro, and predicted it too early.
But nothing as yet to say that's being investigated, interestingly. So I wonder whether one or two of the teams might query it post-race. Either way, Eric Genet for Spain is now 2.3 seconds back. Ignacio Montenegro, the Argentine driver, leads the pack at the moment. Battle more for third, I reckon. Aurélien Comte being chased by there, Marco Butti. So the two of them together. Marco Butti has been doing quite a bit of GT racing this year, but he's a very experienced TCR racer. And the Italian driver then now chasing after Aurélien Comte, coming up towards the braking zone. Marco Butti 9th in the World Tour, and Jensen Brickley with the damaged Team United Kingdom car is in the pits.
I think they're even struggling to push it back because of the damage there. The team telling him to get off the brake. He was off the brake because he had no brake lights on, so I think that maybe explains why his pace after that incident was off what we'd seen from him earlier in the weekend.
Now Butti in the Civic getting closer to Aurélien Comte's Cupra. So they come out of turn 12 almost together. Behind them is the fight for 5th, where Czech Republic's Adam Count and Germany's René Kirchhoff have got themselves together as well. But this is a good lap from Marco Butti. He is getting closer and closer, is he not, to France. So it's France versus Italy for 3rd place as they head up towards the line now.
Yeah, the camber, he's got a bit of steering lock on actually, so maybe the camber is okay, but yeah, the clear damage to the bodywork there, that potentially going to be a fair bit of work for the team overnight to fix that. Should be a fair amount of spares. Quite a few teams running this coupe. Obviously got a popular car in TCR and has done very well in numerous championships, so it is a very strong car to have.
Rafael Reis has gone back out in that damaged Brazil car and has done the absolute best first sector. It makes you wonder what could have been, of course. He was on the front row of the grid, whereas Jensen Brickley is still in the pit lane and has been there for longer than the Brazil car. So now Rafael Reis gains a place. And with Turkey out of the race, effectively he's gained 2. So he's not going to be at the very back of the main race grid. And if anybody else hits trouble, then there's another place to be gained there as well. And there is somebody hitting trouble, because that is Megan Tomlinson from Canada in the gravel. It almost looked like she steered into the gravel there, but probably under a big drama, and a start under investigation message now from race control. So what we saw has also registered in race control. So things are going to get really spicy now with a car in the gravel that could be a safety car, and the starts under investigation with the race leader 2.7 seconds up the road. But were the race to be neutralised, that gap would come right down. Not good if there's a penalty for a jump start. Yeah, you've lost your benefit of doing the jump start, and safety car is called. Not unsurprising, car in the gravel. I think it's on the exit of turn number 3, and it was deep in the gravel, so I think that will take some time to recover. But this is bad news for Argentina. I can't see how they're going to escape a penalty, and like you've said, this safety car now has negated any gain of jumping the start, as we see Team Canada there in the gravel. Marshall's really quick to the scene. It is on the exit of turn number 3, so they've got to it quickly, and this could potentially only be 2 or 3 laps under the safety car, and would maybe give us just around 10 minutes of race time remaining, wave past the Brazil car, so he's going to get one of those laps back. I don't think that no, sorry, it should put him on the same lap as the cars in front, so that has given him a good chance. The team has done a really good job to get that car in and out so quickly. So Rafael Reis trying to play catch-up. So race leader is Ignacio Montenegro, and that's sad news. Jensen Brickley is out. The damage sustained just too great. So the young Brit, who lives a stone's throw away from Mallory Park circuit, walks around the back of the car, and the team already setting to work, trying to repair that for tomorrow. But big shame. So Jensen Brickley clambers out, and you can see the expression, very frustrated. Yeah, it could have potentially be quite a painful one as a driver as well. Not just the up and the down, but the way you hold the steering wheel with your thumbs in the spokes. It could have ripped it out of it. So let's see what happened to Canada. Just wide going in. Have they got a front right puncher? It's low, isn't it? Looking at the car, I wonder if as it turned into turn 3, which is an easy flat kink for these TCR cars. Megan Tomlinson there, sorry, just had no grip because that front right is gone and has had to bail, and then has realised that and tried to get out, but then is obviously fearful of driving the car into the barrier, so has slammed the anchors on. A 5-second penalty to Argentina for a jump start. Ignacio Montenegro, the race leader, is being given a 5-second penalty for a jump start. 5 seconds actually is not that draconian, is it? It actually felt like he nearly went 5 seconds before the lights went out, but the safety car has put pay to it. The penalty shouldn't be affected by the safety car, so if it had stayed green, that potentially wouldn't have hurt too much, because his gap was getting up to 5 seconds by that point. But yeah, this is going to be hard now, probably with what, 6 flying laps going. He's got to try and build that 5-second gap, so by the time the end of the race comes, let's go. So let's see the lights, all 5 on. Let's count when he goes. 1. It's like nearly a 1.5, 2-second jump, so to be added 3 on top, I think is not the harshest penalty we've ever seen, that's for sure. Yeah, quite often it's a 10-second penalty for a false start. Let's have another look at Brazil versus United Kingdom. This is going down towards turn 5, and Rafael Reis for Brazil is ahead. Jenson Brickley thinks, I'm going to switch sides because I'm quicker, but there isn't really a gap, and he's never alongside, is he?
No, Brazil just covered it very early as well. He telegrammed where he was going, and it was like United Kingdom there. Brickley was like, well, I want to overtake, so I'm going to try, and that's where Butti made up some easy places, didn't he? He did very well to read that situation.
Absolutely right. Marco Butti for Italy through on the inside. Now, going back to Rafael Reis, of course, he's a lap down, but he's still persevering, and he's gained a place because of Jenson Brickley's retirement. He's gained a place because of Megan Tomlinson's retirement. So he is now going to be, at worst, 10th on the grid. If anybody else falls off, there's another place to be gained. And he has now, courtesy of getting past the safety car, we reckon put himself back onto the lead lap. So Rafael Reis is back into the equation here.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Disney fairy tale, isn't it? It shows you should never give up. And let's remind ourselves, just before the safety car, he'd done the fastest lap of the race as well. He's now second fastest. Argentina, Montenegro did just pip him by a few thousandths, but we've obviously got a fast car there for Brazil. It's at the back of the pack. That could be potential fireworks, and he will be fired up as well.
Indeed so. So Rafael Reis on the restart is going to be a man to watch. He'd already done a purple sector before the safety car, so he's not that far off the race leader's pace. But, of course, he's going to be slower for the next few laps when we go green because he's in the traffic. He's got some overtaking to do. We've got the debris being collected from the road as well. So now, even if Eric Genet can't get past Montenegro, he just has to sit near him within 5 seconds, doesn't he, to take the race win.
Yeah, and they'll be communicated that, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. The 5 seconds added on. Where do I think Argentina will drop to by the end? I think it could be as low as 5th or 6th, looking at people's paces, and I think that's where Brazil could potentially get up to, somewhere around Team Germany, maybe Team Czech Republic, depending on how quickly Brazil can sieve through the traffic. As we go on board, you can hear the cars backfiring off throttle. Sound brilliant, these cars, and yeah, we're getting ready for a restart shortly.
Indeed so. Right, you're on board then as the safety car speeds up and gets sideways. Alan van der Merwe, the safety car driver, charging along. Ignacio Montenegro now is up to turn 12, and it's now up to him to control the pace. So they all start to bunch up. It's going to be fascinating to see what he can do to try and stretch out 5 seconds. But Rafael Reis for Brazil at the back of the pack now, 10th. What progress can he make as the cars come towards turn 14? Right, green flag on the start line, and with now just under 11 minutes to go, the qualifying race is back on. You can't overtake until you get to the line, but René Kircher for Germany in the background comes up alongside Czech Republic's Adam Kaut as they drop down towards turn 1, but it's the Hyundai on the inside of the Honda, so the Czech Republic fends off Germany as they turn now up towards turn 2. Marco Butti attacks France, so that's Italy on the inside trying to go by. Czech Republic gets attacked from Germany to say hurry up. They're still side by side for third coming out of the corner. Italy versus France. France to the inside line for turn 4. Aurélien Comte goes back through.
Great racing and look clean as well so far. Italy now tucking back in behind Comte in the French team there, and I think his next chance is after this next left-hander. Can he get a run? Germany still close as well to the Czech Republic, looking really strong on the brakes. Both Italy and Germany taking chunks out the cars in front of them respectively. Brazil are past Indonesia as well now as we come into turn number 8. How are we looking under braking? Haven't seen any big lockups yet. Remember, these cars don't have ABS. Brazil now past Bangladesh as well. Denmark is next on their radar.
So 8th now for Brazil. Rafael Reis away like a robber's dog on the restart here, isn't he? He's scything his way through the traffic, but there's a bit of real estate to make up before we can get Brazil onto the back of Denmark. You'll see there the orange car at the back of the train, and there's the gap before the green and yellow livery of Brazil comes into play. But in fairness, Rafael Reis is gobbling up that gap hand over fist. Up front though, Ignacio Montenegro for Argentina still leads the way. And 9.5 minutes are on the clock as Marco Butti tries to find a way up into third. René Kircher for Germany to 5th, and it might be battered, it might be bruised, but it's still quick. The Brazilian car of Rafael Reis, who now makes that run up towards the timing line once again. Through comes the Cupra. Lead gap, though, is 1.2 seconds already. I think Montenegro is going to be able to get that 5 seconds cleared.
Yeah, the first lap was brilliant. We didn't expect that, I don't think, from the pace we saw before the safety car. So maybe that Argentina car turns its tyre on slightly quicker, and then it's going to start to drop away again, because Spain were so quick and closing in on that before the safety car. So let's see. But yeah, at the moment, that 5 second gap would look quite positive. After one lap, that 5 seconds isn't going to hurt so much as I initially thought.
So Eric Genet is trying to stay with him. He shouldn't have to worry about what's going on behind, should he? Because third and fourth are busy squabbling amongst themselves. France versus Italy then. There is Marco Butti in the green and white and red Italian tricolore colours adorning the Honda. And there's a bit of a gap back now to fifth. The Czech Republic-Germany battle, where they're absolutely nose to tail, coming down towards turn 8, where they've got to avoid those tyre stacks to stop people clipping the curb or cutting the corner. And Marco Butti heading down towards turn number 11, whereas behind, I think René Kirker's Honda has just dropped away ever so slightly. Lock up from Czech Republic's Adam Kaut, though.
Yeah, and under pressure from Germany straight away with that small mistake. You can see Brazil now on the back of Poulsen in Team Denmark Honda. So are they going to be able to get past there? And then that, I think, does give Brazil a chance to get involved in this battle. We're looking, we've got 4 laps probably still of this race to go. So this is amazing how quickly it swung for Brazil from a disaster to damage limitation to actually a strong result.
I'm not entirely sure how he got his lap back. I was convinced he'd gone a lap down while being in the pits, but maybe they just sneaked out in time. There's a bit of smoke from the... big smoke out of the back of a car there.
Yeah, the Germany car's lost power, hasn't it? That is an engine failure would be my guess. Quite spectacular as well. Really given up the ghost. Done a good job to get out the racing line.
Oh, wow.
It's let go big time. I think that's the turbo when there's that much smoke bellowing out. But another place. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think Germany have done a good enough job. Is that behind the barrier enough? But that is a terminal failure. And again, that's going to be a late night for that team.
Yeah, it's just gone through the little cut through. That was part of the rally stage, actually. So if it's put oil down, it's going to make it lively for the rally contingent in 2 or 3 hours. Right, Brazil still hunting for another place. So René Kirker was 6th. This is now the battle for 6th. It's Denmark versus Brazil. We have got just under 7 minutes of the race to go. And Marco Butti, Italy, finally goes through on the inside of France. Italy gains 3rd place. That move has been in the post for quite a while. Fair play, Marco Butti has worked hard for that. Yeah,
textbook, sent it to the inside, got it stopped really, really well. Obviously calculated that over the last couple of laps since the safety car. Realised that's where he's strong, but Comte fighting back to the inside. But the Honda in front just got the power to out-drag us into turn 12. And Karen, look at that speed. They can take slightly different lines, runs wide in front, so now we've got the chance. Can we pop it to the inside into 14? Send it, France, you've got this. Decides better of it. Remember, this is a qualifying race. I got a bit carried away. France kept it cool, but gets a good run onto the pit straight. This battle has gone on for half a lap as we pit, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, down the pit lane comes France, and Brazil gains another place then. It could well be a gold medal tomorrow, just off a good grid position. But why France has pitted, because there didn't seem to be any problem with that. I'm not aware that he's got a drive-through penalty, but this looks like a drive-through penalty.
He's checking the time screen, going all the way through, isn't he? So there are drive-through penalties coming up on the screen there. So yeah, class 7 drive-through penalty. So yeah, he reacted quickly to it and just got it out the way straight away. But that is really hurt him in this qualifying race.
And another one now is being given to Italy. So a drive-through for Italy. We talked about Marco Butti throwing away laps in the qualifying session. He's done it again in the race. So there's another place to be gained for Brazil. It's going to be 4th now.
Yeah, it's a drive-through penalty race there between Italy and France. They were nose to tail before France pitted. So interesting to see who can do their Joker lap effectively fastest. But I can't wait to see that exiting turn 1, Italy versus France. When are Italy going to do their drive-through? We want to do it, I think, as late as possible to try and pump some fast laps in to give them a gap to France and give them the best possible chance. But yeah, this has swung back to this car so well. What can Brazil do? Has it got enough time to catch the car in front from the Czech Republic? I think probably not. There's the gap, but great result nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, it just gets him further up the grid from sitting in the pit lane with what looked like terminal damage to even be on the lead lap, never mind be gaining places. So Rafael Reis then comes up towards turn 14. You've got to say it was a brilliant job by the team to get that sorted out as quickly as it was to be back in the race. There's Italy then down the pit lane. So Marco Butti was in third place. He comes down the pit lane. Where is France? Yet to appear onto the pit straight. So that means that now we're going to have Czech Republic third. We're going to have Brazil fourth. And still 4 minutes of the race remain. That's Denmark. Right here, coming down the pit lane is Italy. Looking for France in the background, coming under the gantry now. There's another battle going on here, look, between Bangladesh and Indonesia. And Marco Butti is ahead, but he's only now up to speed. Is he going to be able to stay ahead of France? He's not, so France goes back ahead. So Aurélien Comte back ahead of Marco Butti. That means France is ahead of Italy once more.
Yeah, great battle. It's a shame not everyone had to do a drive-through penalty. Like I said, surprised Italy maybe didn't do another lap to try and build that gap. I think he overslowed the car coming into the pit entry as well. I think that was the difference. France did a very clean job of getting down to the speed limit and back up to speed.
So, after all of that, 3 minutes are on the clock, and the lead gap is 3 seconds. It's not yet enough. We've got this 5-second penalty, don't forget, to factor in for the race leader, Ignacio Montenegro. He's going the right way about it. Each lap is quicker than the lap of Eric Genet behind him. He's stretching it as best he can. Let's have a look at that gap. 3.3, give or take, at the start of the lap. And it's just starting to creep up by a tenth or so per sector. But Eric Genet knows what he's got to do here, and that's stay within the 5 seconds. But Montenegro looking oh so comfortable up front.
Yeah, 2 more laps. Can that gap grow by another 1.6 seconds to keep the win in Argentina's favour? Or can Genet just keep it under that 5 seconds? Both drivers definitely would have been told by the team what to do. Seems like the gap just grows a tenth or two each sector. Every lap seems to be losing 4 tenths at the moment, so you should be safe on that trend. But one mistake either way could swing the win in this qualifying race.
3.6 seconds. There is the most pointless of penalties being offered to Jenson Brickley. A drive-through converted into a 30-second penalty for causing a collision. But as he's out of the race, it's not really a penalty.
No, because even Team Turkey didn't complete a lap, so I don't think it's going to change a single position. So, yeah, I think you'll just have to smile and say thank you for that one to the race directors.
Exactly right. A grid drop for tomorrow would have been perhaps equally pointless because there's only one place to drop. Rafael Reis, in the meantime, is charging along, 2.6 seconds now behind Czech Republic. But for the lead, it is going to be close, this. It's 3.6 seconds in the first sector, another 4 tenths pulled out by Argentina over Spain. And then behind, you've got, as I say, Czech Republic, 2.6 seconds up on Brazil. That, again, I'm not convinced he's going to come down before the very end. But just to be on the second row going into tomorrow's race is a huge result for Brazil.
Yeah, imagine offering him that when he was sat in the pit lane after lap 1 with what looked like a lot of damage. Team did a mega job to change the punch and tire. Genet hopping over the curb there. Turn number 12 gap now at 4 seconds. This is still tight to call. A second to find in one lap is going to be a big ask. But I think Montenegro is very, very pumped up here after mistake on the line, pulling away way too early. Looks like he's got a chance to get away with it. Just saw a black flag there being offered to car number 99.
That's Marco Butti.
So I wonder what he's done. Is that more track limits?
Let's have a look. It's not yet. He has had more track limit warnings, another 2. So it's 25 minutes, which will elapse this time, and then 1 regulation lap. So we're almost at the end, as you see France then getting through the traffic as through they come, and a black flag for Marco Butti for multiple track limit offences. So that is the equivalent of race control losing its rag, isn't it, really, and saying enough's enough, just stop now and come in. So Marco Butti being black flagged, which means report to the race director. It doesn't mean you're excluded. It's up to report to the race director. He may allow you back out, but effectively it's the end of the race because of the time on the clock for Marco Butti. We've hit the 25-minute mark. So at the end of this lap for the leader, there is the regulation lap. And that regulation lap could be the salvation for Ignacio Montenegro because he's 4.3 seconds up the road now. And by the end of another lap, should be further ahead. Yeah,
it's up to 4.5 now, isn't it? So he's done a really strong job. But yeah, effectively, that's the red card for Butti there in motorsport terms. And he's had a tough day, isn't he, for track limits. He lost so many of his laps in qualifying. And yeah, he just needs to find a level he can drive at because he's obviously so quick. But it doesn't matter if you're getting off the track that often.
Right, so there's the leader about to start the last lap. And Ignacio Montenegro now comes up towards the timing line. So the last lap board is there. He will go through, and he's oh so close to negating the penalty. through he goes. Let's have a look at the gap. 4.4 at the last sector, and starting the last lap, he is 4.678 seconds ahead. So can he pull out just over 4/10 on the last lap? The evidence would suggest yes.
I agree too. I think he might even get that gap by the end of this first sector. Just seems to be gaining more and more pace. Cheney's being quick. Look at the gap all the way back to Czech Republic now, 8.7 seconds. Brazil closed the gap a little bit, but still at 2 seconds. So the Czech car has been quick throughout this race too, but these two really in a group of their own, and Argentina look like they're going to get away with that mistake at the front.
So last lap, and as the cars come up toward the end of the first sector, job done. He's over 5 seconds clear. So Ignacio Montenegro has cleared the penalty that he was given for that jump start, and Eric Genet will be hugely disappointed about that because he's not been able to match the pace, bearing in mind they were all bunched up anyway thanks to the safety car. So he's lost 5 seconds really in the second half of the race.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's been an amazing pace and metronomic as well from Argentina. Not seeing any track limit warnings either. So yeah, they've obviously got that Honda in a good place, and they're going to start from the best position for tomorrow's race. Who's going to get the medal in the TCR category?
So Ignacio Montenegro, we were predicting at the start of the day, was going to be one of the favourites, and he has lived up to that reputation, hasn't he? In a lively race with lots of drama going on early on. Track limit penalties, Joe was suggesting, would be a factor, but have they ever been? Checkered flag in the qualifying race for touring cars. Argentina wins thanks to Ignacio Montenegro. Spain will be second, and Czech Republic set for third. No medals at stake here. This is just determining the grid for tomorrow's main race. So Argentina, Spain, and the Czech Republic take the top 3, but after a pit stop and big damage sustained early on, Brazil 4th is quite a result. Then you've got René Poulsen heading for 5th for Denmark, and after a drive-through for track limit offences, 6th for France. He's going to be provisionally Aurélien Comte. He's on his way to the line ahead of the Indonesia and Bangladesh battle. So out of the 13 that started, only 8 make it to the end, with engine failures, with damage, with black flags for track limit infringements. Again, I hope race control haven't booked an early dinner, because they're going to have quite a lot to look at this evening.
There's a lot to take from it. Yeah, just hope the cars with the damage that didn't finish get a chance to be repaired overnight. Obviously, the German car had a big terminal failure there, and the British car having a lot of damage as well. See the cars going offline, just getting the pickup to make sure they're okay on weight and ride height, but great job by Montenegro there. Really in a class of his own pace-wise, wasn't he?
Yeah, somebody that came from single-seater racing into touring cars, ex-Spanish F4 racer. So the Argentine, even though he has done most of his racing in Spain, very proud Argentine driver, triumphs over Spain with the Czech Republic in 3rd. A win for Ignacio Montenegro then for Argentina, Eric Genet taking 2nd for Spain, and the Czech Republic's Adam Count 3rd. 4th for Brazil, Rafael Reis ahead of Denmark's René Poulsen, and for France, Aurélien Comte fending off the Indonesian entry of Umar Abdullah and Avik Anwar for Bangladesh. And they were the finishers. We lost Marco Butti thanks to a black flag, René Kirker with an engine failure, a puncture and a gravel trap for Megan Tomlinson for Canada, damage for Jensen Brickley, mechanical woes, may have been a drive shaft off the line for the Team Turkey driver Zakai Özcan, because he only made it as far as turn 1. So for some of the teams, there's a lot of work to do overnight, that is for sure. But there's some celebrating to be done for Ignacio Montenegro, and the final gap, half a second, but that was enough, of course, to clear the penalty.
Yeah, it did so well. It'd be interesting to hear from him and see why he jump start. Was it a mistake, or did the car just lurch forward? You do get it sometimes when the clutch starts to bleed away from you and it lurches forward.
So an impressive recovery drive, really, that, for Ignacio Montenegro, but with quite a few incidents to look at, it might well be a change to the result. We'll let you know tomorrow. A jump start for Argentina from pole position would be one of the talking points of a very dramatic qualifying race for touring cars. Turkey had a mechanical problem off the line, and that car retired at turn 1, but as it was going to be Argentina from Spain and France turning into the first corner, it all kicked off on the opening lap between Brazil and Britain. The United Kingdom entry trying to get up the inside. Jensen Brickley bounced off the back of Rafael Reis He would have to pit with a punctured tyre and some damage, and Jensen Brickley's car ultimately had to pit and retire with the damage sustained to the front corner. He was out, but Rafael Reis continued, and as others hit problems, so he was able to gain ground. And then, when the safety car was called for Megan Tomlinson off into the gravel with a punctured tyre, he got back onto the lead lap. He was at the back of the queue on the restart, but started to carve his way through the field. And as other people were being given drive-through penalties for track limit offences, it all played into the hands of Rafael Reis from Brazil. Up front, Ignacio Montenegro had to try and pull out 5 seconds, and he was able to do that on the last lap, as a great battle between France and Italy was interrupted when both drivers were given a drive-through penalty, and René Kircher for Team Germany had an engine blow at the end of the pit straight. The car was in a safe place. The battle carried on. Finally, Italy overtook France, but they were both given drive-throughs, and Italy ultimately given a black flag as well for repeated track limit offences. No such drama for Ignacio Montenegro, though, as he was able to build a commanding advantage over Eric Genet. It was Argentina from Spain, from the Czech Republic in the end. The winning margin, half a second. Well, it was 5.5 really, but the 5-second penalty didn't matter as Argentina came through for the win, and Argentina will start on pole for the main race on Sunday.